Oh, I must be at the office at 8 o'clock, which is the Western idea of duty. I must be there. What have you to do? Well, my managing director is there and you know how it is. I used to admire these nurses very much, in hospitals, how self-giving they are. But when I found nurses in, again I have to unfortunately mention America. It is not a sense of, their sense of duty is a superficial sense. They have it, but it is superficial. I am paid, so I must work for my pay. So my 8 hours are over, the patient is dying, my relief will come and she will look after it. So the Western idea of duty is to give something in return for what you get. Therefore, you have this rather unsavory habit of giving a Christmas gift to somebody and he giving you a Christmas gift back. It's an obligation. But Chariji, I cannot receive and not give something in return. So I have often asked my friends in Europe and America, suppose somebody saves your life, what will you give? Can you replace it with a whiskey bottle or a Schaefer's pen or a Tissot watch and say thank you for saving my life? And this thank you is so superficial. It is from the lips but not from the heart. If it had to be from the heart, the Western culture would not insist on saying thank you for every silly thing. You get a glass of water, thank you, and you have to put on a smile with it. How is the soup? Oh, excellent, wonderful. Really? Of course. Could you please give me the recipe, you see? And that recipe is to enforce your statement that it was excellent. No, the hostess is supposed to think it was truly excellent. She has asked me for the recipe. And she has to say, oh, I have never given it to anybody, I got it from my grandmother. But since you like it so much, I'll give it to you. Superficial, superficial, superficial. In Europe, when you get a gift, you have to open it immediately and admire it. Otherwise, they feel insulted. I didn't know this first. So we put it away, like we do in India. In India, it's an insult to open it in the presence of the donor or gifter. Because they don't want anybody to know what they have given, because they give it from the heart. You don't expose your heart in front of strangers. You see how topsy-turvy these cultures are, invertendo. So once somebody asked me, aren't you going to open it? I said, why? I can open it. No, but Chariji, I want to see how you like it. And often I have believed, I don't want to mention something else, make it worse, but maybe in private. In India, if you open it, it's an insult. It's as if you are wanting to see what they have given and evaluating, them by their gift. This is exemplified in the Gita, Bhagavad Gita, where Lord Krishna says, Patram, Pushpam, Phalam, Toyam. Yo me bhaktya prayachati. Patram means a leaf. Pushpam, a small flower, tiny flower. Phalam, a fruit. Toyam, a few drops of water. Offered with bhakti, with love and devotion. I accept, says Lord Krishna. I don't want grandiose presents, rich gifts, chains of gold and diamonds, like the Aga Khan is weighed against diamonds and gold every so often. These are simple offerings. You can just pluck off a flower and take it to the temple and offer. And it is to be done. In the Bible, you have the echo of this sentiment. Let not thy left hand know what thy right hand has given. But in practice, it is ignored. So you see, again, this idea of giving so that nobody knows except the recipient. That preserves a certain holiness, a certain sacredness associated with the gift of love. I understand, I believe that this is what makes sex also sacred and holy, that it must not be in a profane atmosphere, It must be in a place of sanctity, purified, and out of eyesight of all but God. You know, when we have our Indian marriages, the ritual of the first night, or as they call it in India rather loosely, or consummation of the marriage as it is often known, is performed on a different day. This is not a question of buying a horse and mounting it and riding it furiously. So, here you buy the horse, rest it, groom it, let it go around your estate, get familiar with it. Then you gently mount, go at a walk, then at a trot, then at a gallop. So in our marriages, there is this, it is called the Shanti Kalyanam, you know, the marriage of peace, that which produces peace. There are again rituals in the morning, and that night the couple are led into a bedroom specially prepared. There's a picture of God, there are flowers, perfume everywhere, agarbatti, and there they consummate their marriage in a spirit of holiness, sanctity, not carnality, not mere carnality. That the expression of love on a separate plane has to be a carnal expression was for the purposes of fulfilling nature's requirement of procreation. That a ceremony is done soon after the marriage to sanctify this procedure is because there is an injunction that you have a duty to give a son to prosper your race further, propagate your race into the future. I have a duty to what I have received, that I shall put it back into the stream of life. Children are not born out of, casual liaisons or for the sake of pleasure, so that the children say, oh, I didn't want to be born. Something you hear very often in the Western world. I didn't want to be there. My dad had a bit of fun, and well, here I am. You never hear this in the Indian continent. So you see, when it is purified, sanctified, they are introduced to this new relationship, essentially a carnal relationship, transformed into something holy, something not to be afraid of, something not to be hated, something not also to be loved, except as a duty at appropriate times when the next progeny is desired. So you see what the meaning behind all this. Today it has become a matter of pleasure. I remember when I was in Yugoslavia, we used to have Saturday dances there in the factory. I never attended. Once they had planned to kidnap me and make me dance, I locked myself up in my room. Because I was always afraid that if you touch a woman, a flame bursts up. And I was only 21. One of my friends came and said, oh, if you are thinking of protection, Chariji, I have 6 in my pocket. I said, why do you carry 6? He said, bogami in Yugoslavia. He said, bogami. One chance I will surely get. I may have a second and a third too, so I can't find any at night. So he had 6. So that is the culture. Pleasure, pleasure, pleasure. So I asked Babuji, why this tremendous pull towards sex? Because I remember André Poré, France. He once came to Babuji when we were in his house and said, Master, why is this human foolishness that we waste our life from 16 to 60? I had to explain to Babuji what exactly he meant. He said, it is foolishness as you have yourself said, Mr. Andre. I asked Babuji, what exactly is due to? He explained to me that on the right side of the sternum, there's a cord, and there's a point in it which has the power of attraction. This is what attracts the opposite sex, and it is mainly the female. And he said it is almost irresistible. Because sex is the one function in which all five senses are involved. In eating, taste. And of course, because the European food is so tasteless, they have added sight to it by garnishing, by colorful decoration, by arranging things beautifully on a plate. Mere carrot and boiled potatoes, so beautifully arranged that you will think it's a dish from God. So there you have the imposition of vision on taste. In some places, they add spices to it to make it savory also. You can smell the food. But in sex, all five senses. Whispered, sweet nothings, as they say. Sense of touch, of course. Sense of smell, perfumes, flowers. No? So, sight, sound, taste, touch, and what was the fifth one? Smell, hearing. Shabda sparsha rasa rupa gandha me siddhyantam, says the Vedas. Shabda, sparsha, rupa, rasa, gandha. He said because of all these five senses coming together in this only activity in which the five unite, it is almost overpowering. I said, why? Why has nature given this special attribute to this activity? He said, because nature wants its purpose fulfilled, that of procreation, of continuing the race into the future. It is not nature's fault. You have your own purpose, nature has her purpose. Her purpose is to procreate, your purpose is to not. You have the right to not procreate, self-control. See? He said, nature doesn't interfere if you don't do it. If you do it, nature doesn't stop you. It is in your hands to decide what you want to do. I said, if you say it is almost irresistible, how to do it? He said, well, meditation helps you, cleaning helps you, cleaning removes these tendencies. Meditation takes your mind away from all worldly activities, including this. Therefore, he said, avoid going anywhere after you come to me. Go straight home. I said, why? He said, when you come, you can look at anything you like, because after all, when you come to me, I clean you, I prepare you. If you are ready, I move you to the next point. Now, in going back is the danger that if you stray from the path, you lose all that I have given you and perhaps more. So he always cautioned people, go back home straight. Don't go for a holiday, don't go picnicking, don't go anywhere. But everybody wants to go somewhere, They come to India and then they see Babuji, and then they go to Delhi, go to Taj Mahal. Then they go to Jaipur, look at the camels, look at the desert, sleep in the desert. And by the time they go home and they write a letter to Babuji. Oh, I had such a wonderful condition, Babuji, in Shahjahanpur. I am sorry to say I don't feel the same here now in Calais, in Paris, in wherever it is. And Babuji said, look here what they are writing. Yes, I said, you asked me to read it, I saw it. This is the problem, you see. They travel everywhere they like, and they don't have the ability to retain their condition. So they lose it. I said, how to retain the condition? Suppose you have to go somewhere. How to retain the condition? And he gave a tip, very valuable tip, enormously valuable tip. He said, wherever you go, whenever you go, feel that the master is going before you, ahead of you. Especially if you are going to a hotel, see that he is entering the room ahead of you, the room is automatically purified. I had this problem because when I used to go to Tirupati, I used to go almost every weekend to see Dr. Rajagopalachari. I had a room in a lodge, as they say in India, It's something like a pension in Europe. And I could not sleep whole night. Next morning I was yawning and sleepy, bleary-eyed. Babuji said, because he was with Dr. Rajagopalachari. He said, what happened to you? I said, I could not sleep. Then he told me, imagine that I am walking ahead of you. When you enter the room, I am already inside. And it works. I realized, that in India, the older people have a custom. They are always dressed in a towel like this, They take out the towel and dust the place where they are going to sit. There is no dust. It is a sort of ritual purification which they had been taught. You understand? South India is very prevalent. Older people, orthodox people. So when we are conscious of that, it works two ways. His protection is with me. Also, my attention is always on him. I cannot look here and there. And he has written about one case, where somebody goes and sees a pretty girl dancing on the street. He is tempted to look, but he has to go. But having gone 10 feet, he walks back to see it. Then goes and comes back again. And then he goes off with the girl. He said, look here, you are making it stronger and stronger every time. I said, but suppose it happens, what should we do? He said, when you look at her, by all means, you must admire her beauty. There's nothing wrong, but you must thank God for it because He is the creator of that beauty. Then it has no effect on you see. Absolutely no effect. Then you have done your duty in praising God's creation and you are serenely going. That nach, as it is called in India, that dance, has no more effect on you than anything else. Now the way to Babuji's house was through a dirty, narrow, brick-paved lane with the noxious, canals, small gutters on both sides. Filthy, it's indescribably filthy. We never noticed because we were thinking of him. Whereas I had once a European friend whom I took. He managed to step on something and he was, annoyed. He said, I just bought these shoes, 200 pounds I paid for them. And you know what he did? He threw it away. He said, I'll never wear them again. A British gentleman. Leather shoes, beautiful leather shoes. If they had fit me, I would have taken them and washed them and put them on. It is clean. If you can put your sneakers into the wash, in a washing machine. In those places, it is very natural to step on such stuff. You just submit on the sand or the mud and go on serenely, you see. It is also part of nature. Everybody does it, no? It's like that old song, the bees do it, the birds do it. We all do it. So what is there to be ashamed of? Of course, modern civilization, modern health says, don't expose these things because you will fall sick. I once had a long talk with a German lady doctor in Munich, Gertie Putter. We were taking a walk of about 4 or 5 kilometers. And this subject came up. She said, oh, India, Chariji, I love it, but especially when I go to see Master, this sort of thing. I said, Gertie, in light you have a spectrum. Violet, indigo, blue, green, yellow, orange, red. None of them is beautiful, none of them is dirty, none of them is ugly. They are what they are, a spectrum. Why don't you imagine a spectrum of smells? From the absolutely rotten, like a rotten egg, to the absolutely divine, like some perfume in Paris. Why don't you imagine? She said, but we have been trained to see these things as dirty. I said, untrain yourself. That is also part of life. You have a jasmine, which you love to stoop and smell, and you have this. Just think of it as part of a spectrum. And if all these are put together, what do you get? You put together all the colors, you get white light. You put together all the smells, it's a divine essence. Smellless smell, Similarly, taste. So this was the sort of training we got from my master, merely by visiting him in Rajagopalachari. No power in summer, and when in Rajagopalachari power went, it was a matter of 36 hours before it was restored. These sort of fans, day and night, 4 of us fanning master. One wouldn't do, no fans. Even if there had been electricity, no fans. No question of ironing your clothes. We just washed them, pulled them to shape and hung them, and we wore them. We melded with the crowd, We were part of them. We were part of the humanity of India. When Babuji went, nobody said anything to him. Nobody knew he was a master. Nobody knew what he was. He didn't care.